Okay, this is problem number 2. Now we did this last week as well, and if you can remember, roots, that was the confusing one that went with zeros. So zeros is when you have a product, A times B. If that product equals 0, we know that either A equals 0, B equals 0, or A and B equals 0. And that's just something that we know about the products. If any two numbers multiplied together equals 0, we know one of those better be 0 or they both are. So in A, we have a product. We have x plus 12, so that's our A if you want to think of it like that. And then we have x minus 7. They're telling us that this product equals 0. So finding the roots, that means find the solution. What values of x will make this statement true? So you just set each factor, and this is something I mentioned in class, each factor equal to 0. So the first one, x plus 12 equal to 0. And then the second one, x minus 7 equal to 0. And we're going to solve for x for both of them. So in the first one, we need to subtract 12 from both sides. So we're left with x equals negative 12. That's one of our roots or solutions. And then the second one, we add 7 to both sides. So we're left with x equals 7. And that's our other root for this first problem A. Okay? Now B, we have negative 3x times 2x minus 5, and that product equals 0. Now again, if we have two numbers multiplied together, we know, and they equal 0, we know that one of them has to be 0, or they both are. So you set each factor. These are factors. So negative 3x equal to 0, and then 2x minus 5 equal to 0. So in the first one, how do we get rid of the negative 3? Remember, if it's multiplication, to undo multiplication, we have to divide both sides by negative 3. So we're left with x equals 0 divided by negative 3 is 0. So that's one of our roots for problem B. And then for the second part, we add 5 to both sides first. We're left with 2x equals 5. And then to get rid of the 2, you need to divide both sides by 2. So we're left with x equals 5/2, and that's another root for problem B. And problem C, we had to do one thing before we could find the roots. It's x squared plus 4x minus 0. This property that I first talked about, when we have two things multiplied together that equals 0, we know that one of them or both of them equals 0. Well, for problem C, we need to get this to be a factor. This is just a sum on the left side. To get it to be a factor, we could divide out an x. So we're factoring out an x. If we do that, there's an x left, and then there's a 4 left. By doing so, now you can see we have two factors multiplied together to give us 0. So, again, we set each factor equal to 0. So x equals 0, that one was easy. That's one of our roots. And then the second part equal to 0, x plus 4 equals 0. To undo that, you need to subtract both sides by 4. So x equals negative 4. That's our second root for problem C. So when it says find the roots, that just means solution of the equation. And if the equation equals 0, we need to find what x values we can put in there to make that equation equal to 0.